All right, what's good? Welcome to the trade recap for today. Everyone, let's clap it up. It's a Monday. Hey, August is almost over. Yeah. Anyways, August 25th, trade recap. Took 3 trades today. I know. Typically, I only take 2, but this third one was not a bad trade at all. Okay, we'll go over it. And actually, technically, I took 4, but I didn't know I was in the last one until I got done shitting. So we'll go over everything. But yeah, let's jump right into it. So coming into this morning, I was leaning more bearish than I was bullish, even though we were. Let's go to 4 hour. Even though we were in this giant 4 hour for value gap right here, I at least wanted to see equilibrium of the range get hit. And if we displace through equilibrium, we also had this unfilled 4 hour. So I had targets lower, but like I do every single morning, I have targets going in both directions. So we had London highs right here that I'm just going to mark out. I know you guys can see the S&T, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So we had London highs right here. We had Asian highs right here as well. We also had a unfilled 15-minute right here that we could have targeted. So we had targets above us. We had targets lower. So yeah, I was leaning more bearish, but I was playing both sides of the rock like I always do. So what I wanted to see when market opened is I only marked out a few things prior to market open. I marked out these session highs, this unfilled 15-minute, this hourly gap as well, and then equilibrium along with the unfilled 4 hour below. So there was only like 5 or 6 things I marked. What I wanted to see at market open was a push into. Okay, I guess just. Is I wanted to see a push into this hourly for value gap, and then hopefully we can catch shorts to, well, this low resistance liquidity right here, so on and so forth, right? So what did we end up doing at market open? We ended up pushing into there, but there was no entry. I don't even think there was a 30-second. Let me go and check top step. I don't think there was a 30-second either, to be honest. No 30-second. The fucking candle rippage was just too fucking strong. And it is what it is, right? But I was still leaning bearish on the day. What did price end up doing? We ended up trending higher back into this hourly for value gap. So we got a retest of the hourly for value gap. And then we also got an SMT. So as you guys can see, ES was trading a little bit higher. So that further confirmed helped my bearish conviction on the day. And then to confirm it, we had this 2-minute inversion for value gap right here. So what did I do? I went ahead and I set a limit order at the inversion. Why? Because if I would have strictly just entered off of the inversion itself, well, the trade idea wouldn't have been that good, right? So if it ran, it ran. But I did set a limit order at the inversion, which was perfect. Why? Because, well, what did price end up doing? Price ended up coming back and wicking me in perfectly right here. So I actually got my entry point was right here. Stops at these highs right here. Yep. And my take profit down to these internal lows. So that's what I was targeting. Ended up getting thrown in the trade. Hardly any drawdown. We kind of danced around a little bit. My break even point was this 1-minute unfilled for value gap. So this was my break even point. Not the best break-even point, but it is what it is. We ended up touching it and then flushing through it. And then at this point in time, we were only 5 points away from my take profit. So I was like, boom, okay, this is in the bag. But just like Friday, I got fucking edged and we ended up retracing back into my fucking entry point and stopped me out at break even. So I was still convicted we were going to go lower. Why? Well, because we then created another internal SMT and then we had another 1-minute inversion right here as well. So this was trade number 2. We got the 1-minute inversion with this 952 candle. And then on 953, we ended up tracing up just a little bit. I entered strictly off the inversion. And then as you guys can see, I wasn't in take profit at all, right? Not even a lick of my take profit. So couple things I could have done better here, right? I could have just waited for this low to get swept and waited for a reaction out of it, or I could have just been hands off and be like, okay, first trade was a break even. Maybe it's not as probable that we are going to go lower, because if we did want that low, then we would have took it out, right? But sometimes, like, I wouldn't say the second trade was a fucking bad trade. I would just say it could have been a little better, right? This was like an A minus to a B plus setup. Was not an A plus setup. What was an A plus setup though was this first one. Why? Because we had a higher time frame narrative, the hourly. We had a 5-minute SMT. We had a 2-minute inversion gap with a clear target lower, and then we had a good break even point. So that was definitely an A plus setup. This one I would rate about an A minus or B plus. I guess you can say I kind of rushed it, but it is what it is. I accepted the risk before I entered. I wasn't mad about it. So, you know, losses are part of a winning statistic. That's what I tell myself every time I lose to make myself feel better. And actually, it works. I wasn't mad about this at all. So I was pretty hands off. After this, I wasn't super hands off. What I wanted to see, okay, now that we flipped, we're flipping bullish, is we had this 15-minute gap right here. We had London highs and we had Asian highs right here. So I wanted to try to catch a continuation model towards literally those 3 areas of liquidity. We opened up a 5-minute, but as you guys can see, we do not end up coming down into it. So now we're inside this 15-minute bearish gap. So I wanted to see how price reacted out of it. Maybe we can target this low, or not that low, that unfilled gap or this unfilled gap as a take profit area, depending on how price reacts out of this, right? Because at this point in time, where did 10 a.m. open? I want to say we were still respecting. Yeah, we were inside of this hourly for value gap right here. So we had a high time frame narrative to see, okay, maybe we do get a mech model or a gap model, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But what ended up happening? Well, we just ended up chopping around for fuck knows how long. No SMT was right here. It would have been great if we had an SMT and then possibly an inversion with this candle right here. Let me just double check to make sure there was. Oh, there was an SMT and there was an entry. Oh, guys, look at this. I'm a fucking idiot. So, boom. We missed an entry, but great gap model, right? What do? We go right here. Swept. We're inside of an hourly gap and 15-minute gap. What do we get? We get a 1-minute inversion. And then price ends up ripping towards this first take profit right here. This would have been TP1 and break even, and then if you went in for multiple contracts, you could have held them down to here. Or if you didn't like the negative RR on this trade, you could have just set a 1-to-1, which was just under it, which was right here, and then you would have had a 1-to-1. So I actually didn't even see this. You guys are witnessing that live with me, so that's perfect. So that was a missed setup, I guess, on my end. Just need to lock in more, I guess. So it is what it is. And then what did price end up doing? Well, I still wanted London, so we came and tapped into this 5-minute, and I was looking for an inversion out of it. There's nothing on the 30-second. There was nothing on the 1-minute. We started to chop around, so as soon as we started to chop around, I wanted to see a resweep and then come. So maybe in this resweep leg, we can get an inversion, but that didn't end up happening. We ended up taking out London. Ooh, not yet. Yeah, we ended up taking out London. Still nothing, right? We have nothing below us. There's no 5-minute gaps to target. There's really nothing. Kind of bullshit, right? Just bullshit chop that we kind of want to stay out of. So now I was like, okay, ES is still mad fucking low, not near London or Asia. So I'm like, okay, if we can come up and sweep out Asia and we leave an unfilled gap below us and we get confluences that help build our conviction to go short one last time on the day, because 3 is like the very max I'll take. All right, 9 times out of 10 I'll limit myself to 2, but the first trade was a good one. The second one wasn't even that bad. We just ended up losing. So I was like, okay, I will take a third one. What do? We end up coming up and we take out Asia, right? And where are we at on ES? Well, on ES, we're inside of an hourly gap and we have not swept out either session high, okay? So we have a double SMT with session highs. Okay, so let me just go ahead and take these lines off. So as we continued higher, I don't know why my screen changed. Sorry about that, though. I had to go on to a phone call. We ended up creating this 5-minute fair value gap along with a unfilled 15-minute right here. And then we also have a unfilled 30-minute below the 15-minute. So we were severely overbought. I was pretty convicted we were going to go lower, at least for the time being, right? So what ended up happening? Well, the 5-minute fair value gap was right here. It actually got tapped into at 11:30. And then we trended higher. We created then an internal SMT as well. Here is the SMT. Here, let's go like this. Okay, we had an internal SMT. As you guys can see, that got swept out. And then all these equal highs right here on fucking ES did not get swept out. Okay, so I don't know why ES does that. This is why I don't fucking trade ES. And just as a whole, just look at ES today, right? I took that one trade on last Thursday. But just why would I want to look at that all day? That shit's fucking ass. Okay, so we ended up creating an SMT again, an internal SMT. And then what do we get? Well, there was a 30-second inversion about in here, and I'm going to show you guys my top step right now. So as most of you guys know, I don't have the 30-second fucking chart on TradingView. So if I'm going to enter off a 30-second inversion, it's always going to be charted on Top Step. So we ended up getting a 30-second inversion right here, and I was a little late to my entry. I ended up spotting it right here. So I set a limit order at the 30-second inversion. I ended up getting tapped in on Top Step right about, literally almost top tick the shit out of this. Maybe like right here. Yeah, my stop loss was only 5 points. That seems about right. And then my take profit was wherever the fuck. Oh yeah, right here. So almost bottom ticked that as well. So this is what the 30-second chart looks like. This was my trade on TradingView, and then my trade or Top Step in my trade on TradingView was a little worse. RR, it was a 1.63, but same targets, right? Entered off the 30-second inversion. We have double SMTs with sessions, and then we also have internal SMTs, so 3 bearish SMTs. We also have a slight accumulation manipulation zone, and then a 30-second inversion, unfilled gap below us. We ended up getting tapped in, and then my fucking fourth trade, if you guys peep this shit, I actually got thrown into a trade right here. So my break-even point was this low inside of this 5-minute gap. So as soon as we took it, we ended up creating equal lows and then trending up and then coming down and sweeping it. So thank God that happened first rather than sweeping it out and then going up and tapping my break-even point and continuing lower. But yeah, we created equal lows, so it didn't go break-even there. We ended up coming back into my entry point, and then we flushed through this low. So I was then break-even at this point. I was like, okay, I'm risk-free. I'm going to take a shit. I go to take a shit, and I come back, and the price is all the way over here. So I ended up leaving, taking a shit at like 11:35. I come back at like 12:01. So I'm gone for like 25 minutes, shitting, thinking everything's okay. And yeah, I got thrown into a trade, I guess. I had one more buy order than I did a fucking take profit right here. So it threw me into a buy trade, and I ended up winning. Thank God, because I would have been upset if I was down. I was still very upset that I was even in a trade, but I don't even know where my entry point was. I think it was at the top of this candle, maybe at the bottom. Who fucking knows? I was only up like $130 when price was right here though, so maybe it was at the top of this candle, but I don't know. I just fucking closed, and yeah, so that's why you see 4 separate executions on my screen, but I didn't mean to take that last trade, okay? But overall, it was a pretty good day today, honestly. The break-even trade was an A+ setup. That's perfectly fine. The second trade was not the best, but it was still pretty good. I had pretty good conviction. And then the third trade, I really like the third trade as well. Anytime we get double SMTs or more, it tends to work out in our favor. So yeah, overall solid day, 1 win, 1 break even, 1 loss. I am up on the day. I think I'm up like $250 across my 5 Top Step accounts, which is only like $2,500, maybe $1,500, something like that. I don't know. And then all my other accounts are break even because I did go in for 2 minis on my Top Step with this short, and I only went in for 1 mini on my TradingView accounts, which is Max Allo on Tradeify, Max Allo on My Funded Futures, and Max Allo on Take Profit Trader. So those 13 accounts, I think I lost like $60 on each of them today, but my Top Step, I'm up around 250. So break even Monday, not bad, but yeah, we'll be back tomorrow with another trade recap. Live trading 9:30, free Discord in the bio or in the description. Subscribe if you want. I'll catch y'all boys.